President Obama, in a primetime address on Thursday evening, came before Congress to prod them, scold them, and cajole them to pass his $447 billion American Jobs Act. Joining me now for some insights on whether this will work are Miles Rapoport. He is the president of Demos, and Peter Schiff, president of Euro Pacific Capital, joining us via satellite. And real quick, I want to get your initial reactions. Real quickly, Peter, what was your take on the president's speech last night?
You know, it's more of the same. You know, it's just another stimulus plan dressed up as a jobs plan. But it's not going to create jobs. It's going to run up the deficit by another, $450 billion in the next year. It means that we're going to have another increase in the debt ceiling before the next election, which is something that I was forecasting the last time they raised it. But, you know, it is not going to turn the economy around. It's not going to create any long-term employment. It might help on the margin for the next 6 months, create some more minimum wage jobs, because he effectively reduces the minimum wage to about $3.40 an hour for employers if you hire somebody just for 6 months.
What was your reaction as you heard the president speak last night?
Well, completely the opposite of Peter's. I thought it was a really good speech, and I think it's important to look at all of the elements. There was an infrastructure bank to get serious construction jobs and construction work going. There was there's $35 billion to the states to prevent layoffs and create more unemployment among the public sector. I think the payroll tax cut both for employers and employees. There's a lot of different elements to it. I believe it's a badly needed boost to an economy that is.
But where's the money going to come from? What damage is going to be done to the economy by the money being redirected by government to things that the government wants?
Peter, hold on. So the president is saying that this will be paid for, and he's going to come out next week with his long-term deficit reduction plan. The super committee is going to meet.
It's not paid for, Aaron. What he's talking about is promising to make some cuts 5 or 10 years from now to theoretically pay for the money we're borrowing today. But that's not paying for it. I mean,
what he's talking about, excuse me, but what he's talking about is getting some economic growth going, which we need.
Increase.
Right. All right. So Miles, your point is that we need to do something right now because we have 9+% unemployment in this country. The GDP of this country is flatlined, and the government should be doing something.
So what he's doing by extending unemployment, by putting more money into consumers' pockets, into workers' pockets, by giving tax breaks to the businesses to hire and to prevent more layoffs, is creating a higher level of employment, more jobs, get the economy going, and we'll get out of the deficit by economic growth.
The government has no money to put in people's pockets. It has to pick somebody else's pocket to do it. It is destroying the value of the dollar. It is making the cost of living go up. It's inhibiting capital formation. Everything the government is doing will undermine the economy and create more unemployment. You know, if big deficits created employment, we'd have full employment right now, because the deficits are bigger than ever.
Peter, I want to ask you, the president said something last night. I don't think he was directing it right at you, but it sounds right up your alley. He said, in fact, this larger notion that the only thing we can do to restore prosperity is just dismantle government, refund everybody's money, and let everyone write their own rules and tell everyone they're on their own, that's not who we are. That's not the story of America. Do you think that is what we should do?
The president has to learn history. The story of America is limited government, is freedom, is individual liberty, is the Constitution, sound money. You know, when he said, what kind of country would we be if we had stuck to the Constitution and not had Social Security and Medicare? We'd be a greater country. We'd be a freer country. We'd be a more prosperous country. If we had stuck to the Constitution, we wouldn't have all these problems.
Right, but he also said, what if we didn't have the national highway system and other things that government has built?
I wish. You know, the government destroyed the railroads to build that system. You know, everything the government does is a waste. It would have been much better had the private sector had all those funds. We would have developed a much better transportation system, much more efficient transportation system on our own. In the meantime, the country is on the verge of economic Armageddon thanks to all this government. You know, President Obama was lamenting the fact that the American dream is dying. Yes, it's dying because the government is killing it.
Right. What do you say to this idea that the private sector would be more efficient and a better allocator of capital than the government?
I think this is laughable libertarianism at its worst. If you go back to the post-World War II era, what created the middle class, what created the kind of economic growth and prosperity that we had and a rising income for people throughout the country was a real social contract between the government, business, and labor.
The middle class
Peter
didn't
would
just
like to
show
roll
up
back,
in
but it's not going to.
1950. The middle class was created over the period of probably between 1830 and 1920. It was the Industrial Revolution. It was the Gilded Age. It was the period of time where we were the most free. That's where we created our wealth. We started dissipating it.
No. The wealth was created and held by a small group of people, which it is today, until the government made some changes.
Right. All right.
You need managed growth, managed capitalism.
Yeah, look, my grandmother didn't have to work.
Hold on, Peter, hold on.
You can't do that today.
Let's step out of the realm of economics and history. You guys are both political animals as well. Miles, does this have any shot of getting through Congress?
I would say two things. Pieces of it have a shot of getting through Congress, not the whole thing. But what he did was create an alternative narrative to the Tea Party libertarianism that Peter is espousing that really can work and can, I think, say to people around the country, we have a shot at getting out of this recession and getting people into jobs.
We have no shot at getting out of this recession.
We have no shot if we do nothing.
Right. All right. So Peter,
what Obama is going to succeed in doing is really helping my business boom, because the weaker he makes the economy, the more people want to send their money to me to invest it. And of course, the higher the price of gold is going to go. And so the libertarians that you're talking about who understand this, who have been buying gold, are the ones that are going to keep getting richer.
All right, we got to leave it there. Miles, Peter, thanks very much.
All right, thank you.